From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
I'm Mike Dennison in Helena. Coming up, a look at the last week in Montana's most expensive electoral contest ever.
If you haven't turned your ballot in yet, election officials in Butte say you better hurry. This may be your last chance.
Well, good Tuesday morning to you. You're watching Montana This Morning. I'm Holly Brantley here with Chet Lehman and Matt Elwell. And I am excited because we've got 50 degrees in the forecast for the weekend. And
oh, yeah.
That means there could be a hike in my future.
There could be. You could take a hike today, even
Absolutely.
into the early part
Just
of
walk
the
a little faster.
Yes. With your snow boots on still.
It'll be good. Temperatures are nearly 40 degrees warmer this morning than they were at this point yesterday. Pretty amazing. 21 degrees in Belgrade. Yesterday morning, 20 below at this point. 21 degrees in Butte, 14 degrees in West Yellowstone. Our clouds are in place, especially in the early part of the day. This won't last all day long, but we will have some filtered sunshine. Daytime highs near 40 degrees for Bozeman. Butte very close to that. We've got warmer temperatures on the way. We're going to talk about how this all breaks down heading into the Halloween holiday that's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks, Matt. Well, there's just 1 week to go until Election Day, and the charges are flying fast and furious in Montana's big dollar U.S. Senate race.
Yeah, that's the battle between Republican incumbent Steve Daines and his Democratic challenger, Governor Steve Bullock.
Each side has advertisements calling the other a liar on everything from China to COVID-19 aid to alleged corruption. MTN's chief political reporter Mike Dennison gives us an update on the status of the race and the back and forth allegations.
If you're watching or listening to TV or any media this week, you're liable to hear something like this.
Steve Bullock is lying to you about China. Here's the truth.
Or this.
Steve Daines has made a lot of money, but too often it's cost us.
It's all part of the $150 million being spent on this race, which enters its home stretch as one of several U.S. Senate contests nationwide that will decide which party is the majority. Pro-Bullock groups are hammering Daines on China, saying he has favored the country where he used to work, and on health care, pointing to his past votes to repeal the Affordable Care Act. In response, Daines says he's the one taking a tough stance on China regarding trade and COVID-19, and that he still wants to maintain the positive aspects of the ACA. The Daines camp also is amping up the attacks on Bullock's reputation, such as in this TV ad that began last week.
So when I learned that Governor Bullock used COVID relief money to reward his campaign donors, it really upset me. Bullock also gave millions in state contracts to his brother's firm, which then paid nearly $1 million right back to Governor Bullock.
The charges of Bullock favoring his brother's environmental consulting firm, they've pretty much been debunked. And any money paid to Bullock was for office space rental in a building he's owned since 2005. That ad also prompted members of the governor's COVID-19 relief task force to write a letter to Daines, saying he had defamed businesses and community leaders. Daines fired back, pointing out that members of the task force who had donated to the governor's campaigns did get some substantial grants. The Bullock campaign bought ads Sunday in the state's major newspapers, saying Daines is repeating lies told first by outside groups about the governor's family and the task force. So here we are in the final week of the most expensive campaign in Montana history. And all that money is fighting over a shrinking pool of voters. As of Sunday night, 362,000 Montanans had already voted. Still, we have many more votes to be cast in a race that's far from decided. In Helena, I'm Mike Dennison, MTN News.
For a more detailed analysis at the final charges being leveled in this race, look at Mike's full story on our website.
Well, staying on topic, in Gallatin County, election officials say 43,805 ballots of the nearly 82,000 issued have been received and processed.
As for Butte ballots, as of Friday, about 12,000 of 20,000 ballots have been cast.
Butte's election office says there are still many ballots out there and there's still time to vote in the general election. But as MTN's John Amey reports, voters should turn them in person, more importantly, to the right people.
With the general election looming, anyone who has not voted in Butte should turn in their ballot in person and make sure you give it to an election official.
Do not give your ballot to anybody unless you know who they are. And our employees have name tags with their pictures on them. They are certified to take your ballot. No one else is.
While there's no official reports of anyone taking ballots from people, Butte's clerk and recorder's office has fielded phone calls from people concerned this was occurring. Hollis says there's more anxiety among voters this year.
I think it's just the general public are anxious, and I think that's just a time in our life where we're at in this country.
If you're watching this report right now and you have not turned in your ballot yet, do not mail it in. Election officials say it's best if you turn it in person to an election official.
It may not get to me in time, and it has to be in my hands by 8 o'clock Tuesday night on Election Day, November 3rd.
In Butte, John Amy, MTN News.
6:35 now. With increased cases of COVID-19 at the Montana State Prison, Montana Governor Steve Bullock ordering the Montana National Guard to step in and help. Beginning today, 67 soldiers will assist staff at the prison in Deer Lodge in duties that include distribution of mail, laundry, inmate counts, and delivering meals. Soldiers will not be armed, and their direct contact with inmates will be minimized. This month, 61 staff members and 166 inmates have tested positive for the virus. According to the Department of Justice, the facility has a total of 701 staff members and an inmate population of 1,407.
In a notice released on social media, the town of West Yellowstone has elevated fluoride levels are being detected in the drinking water. The city manager says it's a routine notice. According to the notice, the drinking water contains enough extra fluoride to cause brown staining or pitting of the permanent teeth among children. The town of West Yellowstone says this is only a problem that occurs in developing teeth, so children under 9 years old should be provided with alternative sources of drinking water.
6:36 now. 28-year-old William Casey Allen of Reed Point and 37-year-old Nicholas Ryan Visser of Billings died Sunday evening while trying to recover a disabled vehicle from the highway near Columbus.
MTN's Mitch Laghi brings us reaction from the owners of Hansers Automotive, a message of sorrow and safety.
Ownership at Hansers Automotive in Billings was truly saddened to hear about the deaths of two of their tow truck drivers over the weekend on Interstate 90 outside of Columbus. On Monday, the owners told me that they hope these tragic deaths result in a conversation about highway safety.
Nick Visser, a 37-year-old husband and father, leaves behind a wife and 5 kids. He was a man who loved motorcycles, beards, and his wife's good cooking. He may have looked tough, but coworkers said his soul was gentle and kind. And 28-year-old Casey Allen of Reed Point was described as a sweet, soft-spoken man who loved the great outdoors and deserved 60 more years of fishing, bow hunting, and shooting. In the wake of the loss of these 2 men, ownership at Hansers is asking the community to stay vigilant while driving and slow down for the conditions.
Through this thing, it just reminds us of how we were sitting here reminding ourselves how many times that we almost got hit, and there's literally thousands and thousands of times. So, I mean, we're just asking people when they see warning signs, when they see bad weather conditions, slow down. There's people out there trying to get people out of the ditch. And
2 GoFundMe accounts have been set up to assist the families with funeral costs. To find them, visit the Hansers Automotive Facebook page. In Billings, Mitch Laghi, MTN News.
Unbelievable. Maybe something good can come from that tragedy. Our thoughts go out to the families of both those men and to Hansers Towing, and that, like they said, literally thousands of times. These folks are just doing their job out there on the highway.
Very dangerous work.
Slow down, slow down, slow down. Enough said. There you go.
All right, well, when we come back, some soft drinks are going away forever. Coke says it will shut down production of 200 brands. Why that's happening, coming up.
But first, let's check in with our friends at CBS This Morning to see what's coming up at 7.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Judge Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed to the Supreme Court. It was one of the most partisan confirmation votes in U.S. history last night. What this means for the presidential race, with the election now just 1 week away from today. Also, our Road to a Vaccine series continues. We'll explore the major challenges that our country faces when it comes to mass distribution of a coronavirus vaccine. And the pandemic is changing the way we do our holiday shopping. So now the concern for small and local stores as some big retailers launch sales long before Black Friday. We'll see you 7 o'clock on the dot.